Hey all, my name's Braden, and welcome back to the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Let's Play. In this particular episode, we're going to be looking at two more zones. We're going to be looking at Hilltop Zone and Casino Night Zone, not Casino Street Zone. Trust me, I confused the names all the time when Sonic 4 first came out, as I'm pretty sure most of the Sonic fans did. So, in terms of this stage introduces us to a couple new elements that have been regarded as staples in the Sonic series. There is the overall casino or theme park gimmicked stage, and there's also pinball elements in the stage as well. Now, you could get away with saying that Spring Yard Zone from the original Sonic 1 sort of introduced pinball elements to the series first, but I personally wouldn't say that. I would consider that kind of a stretch. But it's this game in particular that really said, hey, there's pinball elements in the series, why don't you use them? And then Spinball came around and didn't even try to hide the fact that it was a pinball game. It's in the name. Now, we are going to be getting our 7th Chaos Emerald in this particular stage, but we won't be getting that for another little bit, not until about halfway through this episode. Now, this stage, I am reminded kind of other games in the series, later games as well. Most notably, Collision Chaos Zone. Mainly because of all the flippers and springs you're going to encounter in this stage. But in this stage, there is compulsive gambling, so... Now, it is a way on how you're going to lose a lot of rings, or you're going to earn no rings, or you're going to earn a lot of rings. Really, it's all luck. Now, in terms of badniks in the stage as well, we're introduced to one badnik. And there's only one badnik in this stage. And it's a spring-like badnik. It's got a spring shield, I find, where if you're curled into a ball and you attack it, it will defend either its front or its top. It won't defend its back. So it's only breakable from the back. Yeah, that was that badnik right there. If you run into it, you're going to take damage, duh, but if you curl into a ball, it will defend itself. How about that? A competent badnik. That's incredible. Probably the Doctor's most advanced badnik so far. But there we go. We used the slot reels to get enough rings to get ourselves our 7th Chaos Emerald. And like any other 2D side-scrolling Sonic platformer, the good ending and the true ending is locked behind the Chaos Emeralds. So if you want the real true ending, gotta get the Chaos Emeralds. Cause I don't like the good ending in this game. I'm getting it for the sake of completionist's sake. Cause I did that with Sonic 1. So I'm gonna do it with Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic CD, Sonic 3D Blast, all that. I prefer the bad ending in this game, because I find it's better than the good ending. More on that later. But in terms of stage hazards in this game, there's not really many stage hazards. I mean, yeah, there's the bed of spikes every now and then, and there's also the risk of getting crushed. However, the risk of getting crushed is so small, because what can crush you moves so slow. And there's also the spike beds, which pose no threat as they're so few and far between that they're pretty much non-existent in this stage. So you really don't have to worry about dying at all in this stage, except for the Doctor. He's the only real threat in the stage, and he's not until the end of the stage anyway, when you're pretty much done with a level, so yeah. You don't really have to worry about dying at all in this stage. But we're coming up on our Dr. Robotnik fight here, but first, Special Stage 7. And this is the one I really want to talk about. Now, Special Stage 7, I find, is the hardest in the game. Not because of the movement, but because of what the stage requires you to do. Because there's bombs running straight down the center of the track in the first part, where it would be ideal to swerve. It's not suggested, though. Because if you start swerving, you run the risk of running into one of the bombs and losing rings. And you don't want that to happen, because this special stage in the beginning is very, very tight in terms of the ring quota. And if you get hit once, that's it. You'll pretty much lose your shot at the Chaos Emerald. It's the second part of the special stage that's a bit more forgiving, as the bombs are only on the side. So all you really gotta do is swerve between the walls, and you don't run the risk of losing any rings. Just stay on the right here. On the left, my mistake. Stay on the left. Stay on the left. Stay on the left. Now go to the right. Yeah. It's this third part that is the most hectic, as it just throws rings at you. And it does the same thing with the bombs, and that makes running into the bombs in this part of the stage a lot more likely. But it also makes collecting rings quite a bit more difficult as well. But if you have a surplus of at least 180 rings walking into the third part, you'll be just fine. I know I make the Chaos Emeralds seem really easy, and I really did make them seem that way. But that's only because I have the practice behind me in order to make the Chaos Emeralds look easy. But with that, we have our 7th Chaos Emerald. So that means we can now become Supersonic, a golden invincible hedgehog that destroys everything in its path. But now it's time for our next Dr. Robotnik fight, our fourth Dr. Robotnik fight. Now, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use the flippers to launch Sonic up to hit the Doctor. I wouldn't do that personally, because I'm not good at doing that. I prefer using the spin dash and spin dashing up the wall and hitting the Doctor that way by jumping off the walls. So, yeah. An alternative way you could beat this boss, if you have Supersonic walking into this fight, you can just jump up and hit him and not have to worry about taking damage. You will have to worry about running into the bottom of his Eggmobile, because you don't want to be running into the electricity, because I'm pretty sure that does damage. But with that, we've finished Casino Night Zone. Moving on is Hilltop Zone. And I don't like Hilltop Zone. And, it's basically Emerald Hill Zone, but blue. And I find that really boring. However, we are introduced to, well, reintroduced, I should say, to a Badnik that has appeared in the previous game. We are reintroduced to Orbinaut in this game. If you remember from Labyrinth Zone, that little spiked ball enemy that threw its spiked balls at you, that was Orbinaut. He's back in this game, except this time he has a bit of an upgrade. He's got fireballs this time around instead of spike balls. He's also on these little trampolines. See? The little glowing ball with eyes? Yeah, that's Orbinaut. Yeah, he's back. And he's just as pathetic in this game as he was in Sonic 1. Alright. Now that we're Supersonic, I do want to touch on Supersonic. In order to become Supersonic, you need all the Chaos Emeralds, first and foremost. Now, Supersonic is activated by collecting 50 rings and simply jumping. There's no other button, no other input. It's just 50 rings and jump. Making Supersonic very, very easy to transform into. Now, I love the transformation in this game. However, I hate the music, because it's this repetitive, like, 3-second loop. Now, Supersonic is twice as fast, he can jump twice as high, and he uses 1 ring per second. So, yeah. Now, there is a glitch in terms with Supersonic in this particular zone. I mean, Supersonic himself is really glitchy. And you can just walk through walls with Supersonic in some instances. And you clip through the floor at some points. Clipping through the floor seems to be an issue in ports of this game. Such as the PS3 port, or the Xbox Live port, this version of the game. The mobile version even has it as well. Where if you're in this stage and you're Supersonic and you're in one of the cave sections and you're on one of the pulleys and you just run off or jump off, Supersonic will start moving faster than the screen, end up clipping through the ground where there's lava, and you will void out and die. I don't know if that's a thing in the original Genesis version of the game. I know it's a thing in the ports because it's happened to me plenty of times, especially when I was going for the beat the game in under an hour trophy on the PS3, but that's beside the point. So you're just going to want to be a little quick in this particular section of the game, well, of the stage, as there's lava constantly rising, and you don't want to fall in that if you're not Supersonic, or you don't have invincibility, or have a shield, because you'll lose your rings, and that's not fun. I mean, the music in this particular zone is great, but I hate the stage itself. It's my least favorite of the stages. See, for example, right here, if you were to jump off at the very top, you would start moving so fast that you would clip through the lava to the left, which is just over here, where Barney is. You would clip through the lava, void out, and die. I don't know why. It just happens. If there's a Genesis aficionado of this game, I would love to know if it's a thing in the original. But for this Robotnik fight, he'll pop out of the lava and shoot a fireball. Just jump over the fireball, get your hit in on him, and that's pretty much it. Alternatively, if you have rings, as soon as he pops out of the lava, jump on him, you'll score 8 hits, tank the hit in the lava, jump out, and fight's over in a matter of seconds. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've beaten Hilltop Zone, and we will be moving on to our next zone, which would be Mystic Cave Zone in the next episode. See you then.